Hey everyone, I'm here finally doing the answers video to the current questions. I left it 1 week in case the original video got any more questions asked to it. And now I have a list and I'm going to answer them in this video. So if you're interested in looking ahead at the questions, they're in the description of this video, but I'll be reading them out anyway. So to start off, in the order of which they were asked, xXDamagetrainXx asks, number 1, what is the most irritating thing that you've experienced? Talking to you? Joke. The most irritating thing, I wouldn't exactly use the word irritating, but frustrating, would be here in Spain trying to communicate with someone but not having, not that I can't speak the language, but not having the right words or not knowing how to phrase something or whatever. That is always annoying me for the past year, and strangely enough, as my Spanish improves, it annoys me to increasing levels. So I don't know, that's an odd one because I mean, I could say penicillin because I'm allergic to it. That would irritate me. But number 2, what is the most hilarious thing you've done? That is a fantastic question because that is quite a long list. Those who know me, really properly know me, then they'll know I've done rather hilarious things. Probably one of the funniest things I've ever done is at a golfing range. I managed to somehow let go of the club. It flung up, hit the roof, and came down and hit me back in the head. But there's other things. My list is endless. I'm weird that way. I've done strange things with my time. Number 3. If you needed advice from someone, who would be the 5 people you'd seek? Well, this one's fairly easy. Of course, dependent on the advice. But I would seek my good friend Sean, my surrogate father Enrique, who you may all know as YouTube user and versus player Chunglo, who's been a good friend to me for 4 years, my friend Ryan, who I've known for 5 years now, and final person, because with that much, with those 4, I've got quite a good base for help. So the 5th one would probably just be any one of my other friends could provide a little bit of advice, and then I would compare it. I would compare what everyone says and make up my own mind. But that's dependent on what the problem is I need the advice for. Number 4. If I got into trouble with a 6.5 foot weightlifting bodybuilder who, well, what other types of bodybuilder do you get? Who would easily kick my ass, also that I did nothing to provoke him, would you help me out? Of course I would, Sam. I would help you out in that case. Because he might be 6.5 feet, he might be a bodybuilder, but a brick to the back of the head is still going to hurt him. No one messes with my friends. I'm not afraid of anyone. Final one. My fart kills the world's supply of food. How do you resolve this matter? remove your ass and eat the rest of you. Because if you've got enough power in one fart to do that, then surely your body itself must have enough energy to feed people, kind of like Jesus did. So now we move on to I Am 10 Years Ago. And he's asking how babies are made. Well, this one is very simple. Babies are made when a male cell meets a female cell. And when they join together, and the female cell is normally an egg, then when they join together they grow and eventually become a baby. There you go. Chunglo then says, in classic Khan style, "You're a pure scum, eat shit and die, Sarcosuchas, R.I.P. Funny you're saying R.I.P. to me, meanwhile I beat you before, real dunghole." STARSJillTRW asks, when you first started Versus, how did you learn how to quick turn and play like a pro? Well, when I first started Versus, I originally was a strafer because I was not aware that Resident Evil 4's controls were on Resident Evil 5. However, when I was told this by none other than Chunglo that I could actually change the controls, I did so. And after that, after watching his videos and others, and watching over my own gameplay, and speaking to him and people like Scotsman, etc., that's how I learned how to get better. She also asks, how come you moved to Spain instead of staying in your original home of Scotland? This story comes from the fact that my parents had always wanted to move here from many years ago. And the state of the economy in Scotland, just the state of the government, is waning. Also, I was getting sick of a lot of the people there, none of which were my friends, but my friends know what I mean. Then also in terms of education, I wanted to learn another language. I've got good friends over here, and I want to work with crocodiles in the future, and I've been helping out at Crocodile Park here in Spain for 13 years. So it made more sense to come over here. JillReview asks, one day a girl cooked something for a boy. Yes, please ignore the gender stereotypes. When the boy finished eating, he thought it tasted a bit weird, so he asked her what it was. She replied that she had found him penguin meat. After a few moments deep in thought, the boy began crying and then killed himself. Why? Yeah, I do care to answer this one, Ash, but you've not given me the full riddle here, because I've heard this one before. And you're just trying to throw me off, because this goes from an original riddle, which is Arctic explorers, and the man's wife brings him back penguin meat, but unfortunately ends up dying. Then when he's rescued, he goes to a restaurant, orders penguin meat, but finds out it tastes different. And the reason for this was because his wife was limping. She was not killing penguins for the meat. She was taking her own meat from her leg and feeding him it. So when he realised that he had actually been devouring his wife while lost in the Arctic, overcome by grief, he kills himself. So I would assume this question is a variation on that. If it isn't, then I can only imagine that he either thinks he himself is a penguin, or indeed he had a pet penguin which this girl, who we assume to be sweet, has in fact brutally murdered and cooked. I kind of like the second one more. Then the Kennyscotsman, or also known as Complete Carnage 99, asks, what's the most interesting or quick decision situation you've ever been in? Like choosing which way to run from the cops or something. Well, I've never had to run away from the police, thankfully. The most interesting quick decision would probably have been, and it's something that I'm not going to elaborate on, mainly because it's the truth, I don't want to get into the situation, but it was a time where someone pulled a knife on me, and the quick decision, of course, was that natural fight or flight reaction, and my reaction was to fight, and I managed to overpower him very quickly by moving the knife away from my body and striking him hard enough so that I could then run. That's probably been the most interesting one, because that situation could end in death for me, but it didn't. So that's an interesting again, I've had some quick decisions in my time. And finally, Miss Blue asks, who do you love the most? Well, quite simply, my friends. All of them, equally. So, that's all there is to it. My friends and my family are my life, and that's never going to change. So, that's me out of questions for now, approaching 12 minutes. So if you want any other questions, then go back to the original video, which this is a response to, and ask me there, and I'll answer them in a second video, which will hopefully be coming quite soon. Bye!